we're sitting here in what was 2 years ago, your new fermenting mash area.
Yeah.
And it's, when we first walked in here, if anybody has any idea, you could have probably lit a match and blew everything.
It hit your eyes.
It was strong. Well, cheers.
Cheers.
Also known as a Lady in the Bourbon on Instagram.
I think it's huckberry.
No, so it actually, like, the real thing is,
Our little niche is that we just like to drink bourbon and bullshit, you know? That's why the big BS in our logo is we just like
There
to
it
bullshit.
is. Bourbon and bullshit.
Welcome back. I'm Dan.
I'm Ryan.
And this is Bourbon Sauce. This week we've got Andy Lang with us from Leatherwood. Welcome back.
Thanks.
For,
Good to be here.
Joining us. So the last time we talked, you had a lot of things in works. And it's pretty apparent that things are blowing up for you.
Yeah, it's not a hobby anymore.
Yeah, you've been busy. Your partner that came on, you want to talk about how that happened, that relationship?
Yeah, so originally I had 4 other partners. They're guys, awesome dudes. They just jumped in at the beginning. We were like, yeah, let's see what you can do. And it was more friends helping me, kind of in that transition phase of the military. We did that for about 6 years, and we just never had like the full capabilities of a big business. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We were always small, so it was me and one other person doing everything, which, what that means is everything gets done about 10% of the way. About a year and a half ago, a buddy of mine brought in Mr. Maynard, and he owns Shelby's Trio downtown Clarksville. He owns a swag company, also owns a company that builds out restaurants and stuff like that. He came in, sat down, and we just talked. We hit it off, and I opened the books up. I was like, hey, let's figure something out. If you want to jump on, and I'd love to have you. And the biggest thing that he's brought on is his whole team of finance people, sales people, CPAs, stuff like that, which I didn't have. And actually we found out in the last, couple months that there's just been money going out for old stuff. You know what I mean? And I can never figure that out on my own.
Yeah.
So it's been pretty awesome. And then with that, also, we have a national marketing campaign now with drag racing car with Tony Schumacher, and soon to be Ida, who was the European world champion. She'll be starting actually this next weekend coming up, doing her first race. So yeah, it's taken off.
That pretty much legitimized Leatherwood now with all these backers. You've got the full force, like you said, of people that's their job.
Right.
So you can more focus on this side of the business and not 17 other jobs that you were doing by yourself, in essence.
Yeah.
So that's got to be good for family time, too.
Well, it's a little of both, you know. I'm definitely gone a lot more because I'm traveling with the car. Everywhere the car goes, we've got distribution now. So I've got more, what's the word I'd say, partnerships with distributors and stuff like that I've got to follow up with now. So it's a lot more busy now, but it's a lot more busy in a lucrative way. Put it that way.
That's probably a better model for you anyway in the long run.
Yeah. And it does. It lets me focus on telling the story, getting out there, doing the tastings, signing bottles, whatever I got to do with those distributors and the retail partners.
Yeah, I've noticed that's a big uptick too with the tastings between here and Nashville.
Yeah.
Been seeing you guys on the social media, it pops up and says, "Hey, we're here today from this time to this time. You know, come grab a taste." And for those people that aren't familiar with the Leatherwood brand, you know, there's more than what we have displayed here. There's the moonshine, the rum, all the varieties of flavors that, you know, we kind of covered on the first episode. So if people haven't seen that first episode, go back and watch that. Or if you're really curious, just come down here to the distillery.
Yeah.
And you guys are doing now the flight test tastings too.
Yep.
Which is kind of a newer thing. I don't think has always been.
Yeah, we've always done them, but we've always done, you know, pick 5.
Okay.
Now we offer, if you want, you know, you and a couple people can share. We have 14 products. So you and a couple people can share all 14. And so you get a little bit better feel for all the different stuff that we're doing.
Yeah, and it's incredible how much has changed. You guys are breaking ground right now on the new facility.
Yeah.
What's that going to be?
So it's going to be an event space. It's going to be a tasting room like we have in there. It's also going to have a production area like this. So basically, we're going to double up on everything we have. We're going to start out with our original still that we had at Pleasant View. Get things going. We're going to start doing some newer niche batches, different types of grain mashes, and, you know, try a whole bunch of different new stuff.
Yeah.
And it'll kind of be focused down there. So here will kind of be like base station, and down there will be our outstation. But you can rent the place out. It'll have enough room for a 200-person event space.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, it's also have a lot more barrel storage space. So even stuff we make here, we'll be moving down there and storing. So yeah.
So when we talked the last time, you all were in 3 states, and you've grown to how many now?
We just hit 9 this month.
Okay, and that's based off everywhere that you all currently go and race?
Yeah, everywhere the race car goes, we've got a distributor. Some of the states are control states, which are hard to deal with. Great people that we work with, you know, in all the control states. We've been lucky to find the person that, you know, really likes our brand and wants the product to be in the state, which couldn't be happier about. But it's just control states are a little different than open states where they kind of set the price. They tell you what you can sell it to them for. There's also restrictions on doing tastings in stores.
Okay.
There's, you know, like in Tennessee, let's say we had a race in Tennessee, we could bring our distributor out for the day. That could be by the car. They could meet the driver, all that. In most of the control states, you can't do that because they work for the government.
Gotcha.
Right. So it's just like we've dealt with throughout our time in the military. You know, you can't take gifts because it's seen as a bribe or whatever you want. And every one of the control states has been straightforward up front. Be like, look, you guys got to do it yourself, you know, which I'm good with too. So
Yeah, you know, it's better than, I guess, bootlegging it. And then you have to deal with federal problems. But
Wait a minute. Ain't that how racing started here in the U.S., bootlegging?
yeah, that is.
100%.
Yeah.
That's how they made cars faster.
Right. high octane fuel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Having Tony on your guys' team is huge for marketing. When's the next time he's going to be in Clarksville that people can kind of look forward to seeing an appearance, I guess?
You know, I don't know. We've been talking about it for a while, trying to get him out here a couple times a year at the distillery. So Joe Maynard does a lot with Austin P. Which is why we're doing the Austin P. Governor Select Bourbon.
Yeah.
So Tony comes on to help also as kind of that celebrity voice for Austin P. He'll give some speeches and stuff like that to the students, and it's pretty cool. So I'm sure it'll be tied around the next time that happens.
Okay.
Didn't he just pull off a win in Bristol?
Yeah, Bristol, he crushed it. It was an amazing night.
I
think
believe
an
it.
incredible team around Tony too, man. It's Joe's done a good job. Everywhere he's been that I've, kind of read up on, he's turned that place into a success. So
Yeah, that's the coolest part about him coming on. I never had a real mentor that was involved in the company. So I never really learned the intricacies of business.
yeah.
I was kind of winging it and doing what I thought was the best thing to do. And for what knowledge I had, it did pretty good. But having him right next to me, I can call him anytime. I go see him a couple times a week, and I'm like, okay, explain me this, wizard. You know what I mean? And he's always got an answer for it. It's pretty cool.
It's always good to have somebody that can demystify that stuff, because that's why we like talking to you, because you're very transparent about this whole process of how you make your mash and everything. Which on that, what is your mash bill right now?
So we got a couple different ones. So our Snake Eater Bourbon, it's corn, wheat, and rolled oats. It's about 68% corn, maybe 20% wheat, and then the rest is barley. It's kind of funny, most distillers will be able to be like, it's this percent, this percent, this percent. But I actually deal with the production side. I deal with pounds.
Okay.
Pounds of corn. 500 pounds of corn, 200 pounds of wheat, 50 pounds of barley. And to me, that just all makes more sense anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's still a percentage either way you look at it, but it's just faster.
I've been hit in the head a few times too over the years, so kind of remembering percentages and numbers doesn't stick.
You're like, math, what's that? I don't want to do math. Let's just do this easy way.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it makes sense, especially if you're, like you said, dealing in pounds and you got like one sack is a 10-pound bag. You're just like, okay, I just need 10 of these and 5 of those and 4 of those or whatever your bags are, and it just makes life a little easier. Especially when it comes to ordering too. I imagine that's probably the more cumbersome thing, is trying to figure out planning ahead, knowing like how much you're going to go through.
Yeah, with that also, not only bringing on Joe, but I brought on 2 new distillers. Brian LaFawn came on about 2.5 years ago when we're still in Pleasant View. He's just run with it. He took my process and really narrowed it down to, he knows exactly how many pounds of grain we need every month to make 8 to 10 barrels, 10 to 12 barrels, whichever we're doing that month. It's everything, which has been great. It's another team aspect of it, and being in SF. Great part about being a team sergeant was you had the best guys with you, and I could just say, hey, we're doing this, make this happen. And they went off and made it happen. And it's the same way we do business here, once Brian got a handle on it, and he got a handle on it quick, just a smart dude. Also 25 years in the infantry, retired. But he had that mentality that he doesn't need somebody to stand there and be like, now put 100 pounds of grain in there. No, put
No micromanagement needed.
In fact, he's like, leave me alone. I will make it work.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, it just opens me up to go do other stuff.
100%.
Awesome.
You brought on another distiller too in preparation for this next location.
Yeah. So Josh, he actually was in the same platoon as Brian when they were in the infantry. Years and years ago. And when I told Brian we need to start thinking about bringing someone else on, because it's going to take a year to, just train up the basics. So he's like, I got a guy. Called him. Came from Florida. He's like, yeah, let's do it. Younger guy, single. Packed up his shit and got in the truck and moved out here.
That's important because, being a single guy, he can work all hours of the night. Nobody's really going to hound him about where he's at, what he's doing, and he can dedicate himself to the craft, which is important, especially for what you guys have coming up online.
Yeah.
The Pleasant View store, now you turned that into a barbecue place.
Right. It's called Queued Up 615 Barbecue.
They never have chicken.
Yeah, you always come in late.
Daylight dollar short.
Okay, Karen.
I'm always late to the party. I mean, hey, don't get me wrong. Their pasta salad is phenomenal.
Yeah.
I should know. That's pretty much all I eat when I go there.
Yeah.
But I eat it by the pints.
Yeah. Well, we had
Good shit.
snacked on. What did you bring that one day? We were snacking on. It was like some fatback and some other burnt ends and
Oh, this is burnt ends, probably some brisket.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then whatever sliced stuff we were putting on the crackers and cheese.
Yeah, all that good
All the
shit I
bologna.
can't have.
Oh,
Smoked bologna. Yeah. You'd think that'd be so easy, but to do it that way, it's not.
Yeah.
I don't, you know.
no. Yeah, I can only imagine how successful that's going to be. I imagine it's doing well.
It's doing awesome.
Yeah, that's good.
It's he won I think 6 Main Street awards this year. First year in business.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a great location. You know, there's not a lot of real restaurants there.
Yeah,
You know, there's some pubs, pizza places, but the rest is all fast food. So people really like that. So
It's definitely a good spot.
yeah,
And then since the last time we talked, you've come out with a 109 rye and a 109 bourbon as well.
yeah. You know, for years people have been asking, "Hey, when are you going to do some high proof stuff?" And before, especially in Pleasant View, we kind of geared our production towards the bar, producing things that we can make cocktails with.
Right.
And the last thing you want as a bar owner is people crushing shots of barrel strength bourbon, right? 'Cause one is either
what could go wrong?
It's either going to be a problem or they're only going to have 1 or 2 and then leave, right?
Yeah.
But now that we're really getting in bigger into the distribution, and we've got some older spirits now. You know, everything we're putting in a bottle is between 3.5 and 4 years. So that barrel strength is it's a lot deeper. It's got a lot more of that barrel in it, the caramels, and so it was kind of the right time. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like that higher proof. I'm a higher proof person myself. And so that it kind of meets that requirement being at 109. It's not too hot, you know, it's just got enough oomph in it to
Right.
kind of be like, oh shit. All right.
Yeah.
And
A lot of places barrel at 120 something. We barrel at 110.
okay.
When I started out, I just did a bunch of research because obviously doing it at home, I never had barrels. And it just seemed like all the people that were winning awards were barreling at about 110.
Okay.
So I went with 110.
Yeah, no, it's evolved, you know what I mean? Since the first iteration of whatever you put in the bottle to now, it's like you guys you've obviously mastered and perfected that now to a science, like you were telling me, you know, now that you're training these other guys and they're basically matching that same process.
Repeat.
Yeah. Rinse, repeat.
I tell the guys, I was like, you can change the way things are done. I don't care how you do it. I don't care if you pick shit up with a forklift or use your back, you know. But when it comes to the actual grains, the yeast, the temperatures, that'll never change.
Yeah.
So you figure out how to do it the best way you can using those parameters. And they ran with it. It's pretty awesome.
And have y'all entered any of these into competitions?
Yeah, the first one we did was our elderberry rum. It got a bronze medal like the second year we opened. It was in a national competition. The only other one we've done actually was kind of a fluke. We had done a barrel select for a store in St. Louis, and they wanted a barrel strength. So we did 1 barrel of barrel strength, and they sold it out quick. And I had 1 bottle left, and there's a rye competition coming up because they did rye. So I just sent in that extra bottle of 109 rye, and it won bronze. It was in the top. I forget how it's worded, but it's basically we're the number 3 rye in the country for that year.
Or badass.
So yeah, you know, and I was
badass.
just like, yeah, try this one.
That's a testament to what you got going on here for sure.
So it was pretty cool.
We're sitting here in what was 2 years ago, your new fermenting mash area.
Yeah.
And it's, when we first walked in here, if anybody has any idea, you could have probably lit a match and blew everything.
Dude, it hit your eyes.
Oh, yeah.
It was strong.
You know, in reality, it's the CO2. So when you ferment,
Yeah.
you know, the yeast eats the sugar, creates alcohol, CO2, and heat. So that's all the CO2 that was kind of bubbling in here. That's why as soon as I got in here, I opened all the doors because I walked in and was like, whoa, there is almost zero oxygen in this room right now.
We're going to die. Yeah. So when they're doing this process, I imagine you normally have this cracked open at some point in the day, so that way you have airflow and everything else.
When we're running the still, that door stays open, this door stays open, that does too. And in the next room, we've got a big giant vent fan. When you turn that thing in, it sucks air from every room in this place right out the back.
Nice.
So like you can clear everything that's in this room in about 3 seconds.
And you guys are producing quite a bit of barrels per month right now. What is your projected goal for the year? Like, do you have a yearly goal, a monthly goal, or is like?
We do it by month. So we're doing, the guys were doing 12 barrels a month for about 6 months. And then we realized it's a little much for what our income is on our sales. So we dropped it down to 8 to 10, just to get caught up, you know, because there's so many other things we do. You know, we do all these nonprofit events. We do, we're doing one of the big things we need to talk about. Also, we're doing a give back program to Brothers Keepers Veteran Organization and Soldier's Child, 2 different nonprofits. What we're doing is, so 50 cents a bottle goes to Brothers Keeper and 50 cents a bottle goes to a Soldier's Child.
Oh, that's awesome.
Until Veterans Day. So
that's really good.
I'm sure we'll keep it going. You know,
Yeah.
It's kind of what our whole brand is about, giving back. And
Yeah, and that Brothers Keepers organization's also grown leaps and bounds in the last couple of years.
yeah.
You guys got some big names that have been showing up to those events.
Yeah. We got a big one coming up September. We call it the Nashville Gala. It's going to be at the City Winery downtown.
Okay.
You can go on bkvf.org, get tickets if you want. Nick Lavery from Group,
Yeah.
the One-Legged Warrior.
Yep.
He's going to be a guest speaker. We've got a big auction, live auction and silent auction. We say it's a black tie event, but you know, it's all Neanderthals. Like I don't even own a black tie, so
Yeah.
I'll wear jeans and a jacket.
You could put
Wait a minute.
like a
Wait a minute.
bolo or whatever those things are, right?
You were in the military for how long?
26.
Did you just throw it away?
No, actually, when they went to the Blues, I just never bought one. Because I was already in 8.
Yeah.
I already made the 8 list, so
What's the point?
I wasn't putting in a packet to be a sergeant major, so
Yeah.
I just held out. Shit came up whenever there was a, you know.
Right.
I mean, you strike me more as a bow tie guy, anyways.
Yeah. Okay.
I was thinking suspenders, but you know.
Here's your bow tie right here.
I didn't say it didn't spin.
I did have to do one event after one of our trips came back, and there was a memorial service, and I'd get up and talk, so I just borrowed a uniform.
Yeah, why not? You got people, you know, all over the group. I don't know many that don't have extras that they could just be like, here, borrow it.
I mean, we're all kind of built the same.
Yeah.
So it was like, I just asked around, like, what size you got? What's that? Let me borrow yours this weekend.
I mean, in a room of 10 guys, you're going to find your size at some point.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Is there other events that you have on the horizon for Leatherwood specifically that people, you know, want to be paying attention to, other than like you have the musicians that come in on the regular?
Yeah, if you, I mean, definitely follow us on our socials, Facebook, Instagram. We've got a Twitter account, but we don't post anything on Twitter or X, whatever it is. But if you get on there, every week we post a schedule for the week. And then if there's big events, we're actually just launched our new website. So there's going to be a lot more information on there coming out. Well, we got some big events. So I've kind of taken a break on the traveling around with the race car for a while, just doing in-house stuff and events in Nashville. But you know, you can get on our website. You can become a Leatherwood racing team member, and you get discounted tickets to all the races, hospitality, and if you show up as a Leatherwood race team member, you get one of our Leatherwood coins, a shirt, hat. You get to meet Tony and Ida, and it's just an awesome time.
Pretty awesome. Don't miss out on that. Make sure you go to that website and check that out for sure.
Yeah, it's cool.
Speaking of the racing, how loud is that actually when you're right next to that?
It's ridiculous. If you don't have good hearing protection, it hurts. It's like standing next to a 50 cal when it goes off with no hearing protection.
Oh, God.
I mean, the car's 11,000 horsepower, and you feel it in your soul. Like, first time I heard it, I might have peed a little bit. It was pretty interesting. It was pretty crazy.
You're like, okay, that's
Oh, God, what is that?
it's a shock to the whole body.
It's amazing. Even if you're up in the stands and you're not standing right next to it, dude. First race I went to, I took my son. He was 5. Man, we were up in the stands in one of the boxes with hearing protection, and both of us were like, oh, my God, what is that?
That's an outdoor event.
Yeah.
Imagine if that was indoor, like monster trucks and some of those other crazy,
no,
like
no,
the tractor pull events that they do indoors. That always blew my mind. I'm like, you're cranking out that much noise and horsepower in those, and you're inside a coliseum or a dome or whatever. I'm like, that's ridiculous.
So Bristol Motor Speedway, right? The way the Coliseum is built, it kind of almost domes on itself a little bit, right?
It's in a little tiny valley.
So as those cars are going, like, it's loud as shit, right?
Yeah.
Well, I've gone to the drag races too. You have 43 cars going around this track, and it's loud as hell. But going to the drag race, it's louder
Yeah.
than all 43 cars.
You feel the power.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I've watched it on TV, and you just see like it doesn't do it justice, obviously, on TV. But you're just like, man, that looks insane. You know, go from 0 to quarter mile in like seconds.
Yeah, it's they go to 0 to 300 and some miles an hour in 3.6
There's
seconds.
so there's no that car isn't actually I'm trying to figure out the words here. The way the car operates, basically, once you turn it on,
It's trying to go.
it's trying to go, and you're just
Yeah.
basically holding it,
They're just holding the brake.
and you're once
Like
that
called
brake.
positive clutch or something
Yeah.
like that, where once it's on, it's ready to go, and the driver's holding that brake. Got one hand on the steering wheel. It's time to go. It's like,
No wonder, like, you watch those races, you see sometimes those guys, like, it gets squirrely because they maybe just didn't get their hand on the steering wheel right, or jerk their hand a little one way too far, and they're overcorrected.
So there's no shifting in those cars. It's just gone.
go,
Just one gear.
let's go. Yeah.
Blast
Great.
off.
I wonder how many times they sheared like shafts, axles, everything
Every
else.
race, they freaking blow something up.
It's just massive.
Even if they don't blow something up, like, and what's cool, if you come to the race and you get to go to our hospitality, the car's right there. So the whole team mechanics are all ripping the whole engine apart, putting it back together, and they're pulling the clutch assembly out. And dude, that thing has got to be 3,000 freaking degrees. And the guy's like hangs it up, and I mean, you freaking make a s'mores off it.
Yeah.
That's how crazy it is. It's pretty cool.
So your all's new driver was European drag champion, and then before that, she raced drag bikes.
Yep.
Okay.
She used to be a bike dragster.
God, that's crazy.
Yeah, she's a tough chick. It's pretty cool.
She looks rather small.
She's pretty tall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought most drivers are normal, like
Yeah.
smaller, but they're
Yeah.
jacked,
Yeah.
strong.
You'd be surprised, actually. When I got there, I was like, man, I thought everybody'd be small. They're not.
Really?
It's like Tony Stewart is now drag racing,
Really?
Really?
and he's a pretty big
They had to
dude.
build that cockpit around him.
Right.
For sure.
Like
Yeah.
they're made for the driver.
Yeah.
I did not know he was
I
drag
didn't know he
racing
was
now.
doing that now. He must got bored in retirement.
Yeah.
Well, he did like the Outlaw series and all that, and so I guess, yeah.
Yeah, because you think like NASCAR drivers, they're all all crazy different sizes for NASCAR. And I just assumed, the funny cars and the drag cars and stuff like that, the smaller and lighter the driver, the better it is for that, weight ratio that they're trying to figure out, especially.
I think it's actually it doesn't matter.
It's negligible.
With 11,000 horsepower.
Yeah.
10 pounds here, 10 pounds there, 20.
Right.
Sitting on a rocket.
Yeah, it's
Now
a
I'm-
freaking bomb.
Now I'm wondering when Leatherwood's going to come across the hood of a NASCAR car. Just like Rebel is right now.
I'm sure it's
Rebel 100 on
We
Kyle
promote
Busch's
drag
car.
racing, not NASCAR.
Is that like drag?
NASCAR's boring, honestly. Like, yeah. I mean, how many times you do that before you're just like, okay, I need to go find a beer.
Yeah, I feel that way about like F1 too, because like they'll zoom by and you won't see them again for another 5 minutes or whatever. And
Yeah, but at least with NASCAR, I can watch the whole race.
Can with drag racing too.
True.
when you do these one-off brands for people, there's a process that you probably allow people to get involved. And it's like a price per barrel, or is it like a all-inclusive package that you do with them?
Well, it depends. There's a couple different ways to do it. Two things you said there. One would be like a barrel select. Like if you want, you can buy a barrel. In fact, I've got a barrel back there, a buddy, he bought for his company. He wants to let it sit there for like 8 years. And then we're going to put his own private label on it. And then he's going to buy that whole barrel. That's kind of one option. Other option with like Governor Select, what we did is we brought their team in. I made them like 6 different blends of different stuff, because we can buy barrels from other places. We can use some of ours. And like what we try to do for all of them, put a percentage of Leatherwood stuff in there and then a percentage of purchased sourced bourbon in it. So I put 6 different blends together and they picked which one they wanted. They helped design the label. And then what we're doing is right now we're only selling it here and we pay a royalty to Austin P for those sales. Next week or maybe 2 weeks from now, our distributor here in Tennessee, Ajax Turner, is going to pick it up and they're going to get it in a bunch of liquor stores around Clarksville to start.
Oh, nice.
So they can promote it at all their football games, baseball games, whatever. What we're also doing is there's going to be a Leatherwood themed bar at the arena in Clarksville. It'll have Austin Peay's bourbon because they do a lot of basketball events, stuff like that there. And it'll have all of our products. So if you go to concerts or any of the Austin Peay events, you'll be able to get any of our products there.
Very nice.
I like that
Yeah,
they've started
it's pretty
at college events, bringing the booze back into the fold.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's doing it anyway.
Yeah. Why not just
part of
legitimize
it.
it away
Yeah.
and capitalize on that money? Yeah.
So at the one of the arenas, I think the football and baseball arena is the same. Sadly, I don't get up there much, but there's I forget what they call it, but there's like a little bar up inside, like where like VIPs go and all that, and all this will be up in there here and then before the football season starts.
Are you guys trying to branch into some of the arenas even in Nashville? Is that something on a future projects list?
Maybe, probably when we get a lot bigger.
Yeah.
Like they've got big deals with, these big brands like Jack Daniels, Eddie's Vodka, where that distillery actually bought that bar and that space in there for millions of dollars. And then they also pay royalties to Nissan Stadium and the Titans and all that.
Right.
So they're using that as a marketing event every race, not actually selling stuff because,
Okay.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just not at that level yet.
Yeah, because I was thinking, even if you could get into the Bridgestone, that would be awesome just because of how many events they hold there, or even like the Opry Mills area, the Nashville Sounds as a minor league team.
Yeah.
They're always taking on different stuff into the like the bandbox. They take little samples from different places, like
Yeah. Most of
Rhino
it's all a
Dart and
sponsorship.
yeah.
Like they don't actually purchase your stuff. It's a sponsorship to get your name out there on a national level,
gotcha.
and it's a lot. It's a ton.
Yeah.
So we'll get there one day.
That's a 5-year plan.
Yeah.
The next thing you know, you're in the big Kid Rock's bar, though, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah. So
that's our biggest account.
I was gonna say. So at least on this Broadway scene, if people go into Kid Rock's big ass honky tonk, you'll see Leatherwood on there. And
Yeah, they got one of our cocktails on the menu. It's the bubbly berry. It's the
dude,
elderberry Sprite lime juice.
Oh,
that's
so
the best
good.
one. I drink that at
So
home.
good. So good.
They go through more elderberry than any place I know, and
Probably as
that we're
much as I do.
distributing. It's crazy.
I go through almost a case a month.
Yeah.
So how often are you producing the elderberry?
Oh man, these guys are. So every month we make at least 2 batches of rum,
Yep.
and then the rest is all bourbon. And that rum's gone by the end of the month.
Well, how many barrel or bottles is that 2 batches making?
One batch is probably about 100 bottles. No, it's more than that. Probably 200 bottles. So we could go through 400 bottles every month.
Oh yeah, easy. Especially when you have
Yeah.
a boozer like me who's buying.
So we used to buy 1-gallon batches of the elderberry syrup, which is real elderberry juice.
Yeah.
We've started buying pallets of 5-gallon buckets.
Wow.
Put it that way. It's crazy.
So you have the 2 different rums, the Black Flash. Well, not 2 different rums. There's multiple, but your biggest one that you have is the Black Flash, and then that elderberry are like your 2 high sellers for the rum.
Yeah, so what we do, we've got our Midnight Extraction, which is our base clear rum. And it's a pot style rum. So it's pot still style rum. So it's not going to be like your Bacardis that just taste like alcohol. It's actually got caramel and sugar flavors in it. And then we take that base and we add all the flavors. So whether we're doing apple pie, elderberry peach, we're using that base. The only one that's different when we do our jalapeno lemon rum, when we distill the rum, we use that gin basket right there.
Oh, okay.
And we'll fill that gin basket up with jalapenos and lemons. So it's almost like a gin. So it picks up all the flavors as it turns back into liquid alcohol. So you get all the flavor of the jalapeno, but none of the heat. And we don't put any gin in that. We actually make a dry gin now, which is pretty good actually.
Then you have the tequila.
We
Also-
made 1 barrel 18 months ago, about 18 months ago, because I didn't know how it was going to turn out. Never did it before. It's my favorite thing I've ever made. So I'm a little pissed I didn't make like 100 barrels of it. But I didn't want to make 100 barrels and it came out tasting like shit.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Is it tequila or agave spirits?
Technically it's an agave spirit. It's made from 100% blue agave from Mexico. So it's made exactly like tequila's made in Mexico.
Yeah. It's not actually made in Mexico. It's not technically a tequila,
Right.
but
Yeah.
for layman terms, people don't pay attention to that shit. They're like, yeah, it's tequila, whatever.
Right. It goes in all the tequila drinks. That's what matters.
Yeah. You can make a margarita
Yeah.
with it, which is fantastic.
And if you come in here and ask for a shot of tequila, that's what you're getting.
Right.
Yeah. Because it's not like there's any other liquors back there. So
Right.
if people show up and they're like, hey, you got any Jack Daniels back there? Get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out.
You should totally come in and ask for an agave sunrise.
What's this taste like, by the way? I don't know if you've had
That's
it.
your 109.
Yeah.
You're out this cup.
I haven't had it. I gotta say, me and him were both empty, so we needed a cheers glass anyways.
That's right.
Now, are you going to do like a brandy?
We do a brandy. We've got a barrel-aged brandy. It's actually
Okay.
barrel aged for 2 years. We got 1,100 gallons of wine from Beach Haven that didn't make their standard to be bottled.
Yeah.
And we distilled it all and put away 3 barrels. It's pretty cool. They all went into bourbon barrels. So when you taste it, like up front, it's all bourbon. But then that finish is all grape.
Okay.
So it's pretty cool. It's I've never even, again, it's another product I've never even drank before.
Yeah.
But I knew the process. So I did the process right, put it in a barrel. And when it came out, it's pretty cool.
It's just like chemistry set. You know,
There's not a big market for brandy here in Tennessee.
No.
But when we get people from Wisconsin coming through,
Yeah.
dude, they're like, we thought only people from Wisconsin did brandy.
Yeah.
They do brandy old fashions. Oh my God, they're good.
Really?
Dude, it's so good.
Never had that.
Yeah.
I'll have to try that.
Yeah, we'll try one.
You know, I do like that you have the option here to, you know, experiment, because why the hell not? Why would you not want to?
Yeah.
It's like having a giant chemistry set, you know, like, I don't know if your parents ever bought you one of those miniature chemistry sets.
Yeah.
I don't know what they thought back in the day. And they put like legitimate chemicals in those back in the day.
Yeah. But they gave you goggles, so you're good.
And it says
Like anyone wore them.
it says adult supervision recommended on the boxes or whatever it said. But I was just thinking back as a kid, like all the toys that they used to make back in the day. I'm just like, what the fuck are you thinking?
Yeah, each little chemical came in its own little container about this size.
Little
and they all
glass vials.
snapped in.
It was crazy.
I think I made my first bomb out of that thing back then.
It's an
I'm
explosive
just saying,
ordnance
aluminum
device.
foil in the works. It's a good starter.
Well, we tainted this by putting an orange peel left in here, but
No, it's actually, I think that old fashioned burned that orange peel out. It's deep. That 109 is,
yeah, I like that one. I like that one better than the snake eater, the 85
85.
proof. Yeah,
I always tell people, if you like to sip and you just want one or maybe two on with a piece of ice, go with the 109.
yeah,
If you're going to drink a bunch of old fashions, do some shots, you know, maybe even like bourbon and Coke,
yeah,
go with the 85 because you're going to be able to do a bunch.
yeah. Because you figure you put a cube with the 109, it dilutes it down to about 90 proof after the ice is melted in there a bit, you know.
If you let it stay in there long enough.
Well, some people just sit there, you know, and stare at it.
I don't
We
let it
don't.
sit there.
No, it's kind of against the
Yeah, it's against
religion.
Yeah, we just like to sip on it, but
At a steady pace.
yeah,
Yeah.
Now, the other one is our Tennessee Straight, which I'm sure you guys have had.
Yep.
We used to only do like one barrel a year. So about 250 to 300 bottles a year, and we sell it here, and that was it. We finally this year got to a point where we can do our bourbon and our Tennessee Straight kind of full time.
and the sweet wheat. You only made a small run of that too, right?
Yeah, well, we did that for the first probably 6 years. Year 7 is when we switched to yellow corn, because the white corn is mostly imported,
Okay.
and it's so much more expensive. You know, like yellow corn is about 28 cents a pound. White corn was up to like 40 cents a pound for a while.
Adds up quick.
And when you're doing 500 pounds a shot, you know, it adds up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we noticed, you know, the white corn was a little bit sweeter, but bourbon's already sweet
True.
with the wheat. So we switched to the yellow corn, and it didn't make that much difference.
That's good.
A little less sweet, which I think a lot of people like. But
You get too sweet, and that's, you're basically drinking a rum at that point.
yeah,
So it's like, eh.
where the Tennessee Straight is, it's got a little bit of rye to it also. So, you know, Tennessee Straight, it's got that Lincoln County process. It's got the charcoal mellowing before it goes in the barrel, which gives it a little more spice. And then adding a little bit of rye to the mash bill also gives it a little more spice. And I think when people think whiskey, that's kind of what they want to go
Yeah.
with, you know. I'm a sweet liquor kind of guy. So I tend to go for the bourbon. But people that want a little less sweetness go with that Tennessee Straight.
I do the same thing. I'm already spicy enough in real life, so I need something to kind of sweeten me up. You drink something a little sweeter, which is why I love that elderberry, because it's,
Yeah,
God,
it's good.
it is so damn good. Are you going to experiment with 4 grain?
So our sweet feed whiskey is 4 grain.
Oh, that is a 4 grain.
Yeah, it's corn, wheat, rolled oats, and dried molasses or sorghum, however you want to call it.
Okay.
That one's not barrel aged technically; it's barrel finished. It goes in a barrel with the top cut off, and we add charred or toasted French oak chips. So it gets a lot of color and a lot of wood quick. It's only in the barrel for like 2 weeks.
Oh, shit.
So you get that deep wood, but you also get some of that sweet youngness that like a moonshine or a white whiskey would have to it.
Okay.
So kind of the best of both worlds to me.
And as far as expansion, you guys are at your maximum capacity for barrel storage already.
Well, we store a lot of our barrels over at Old Glory now.
Okay.
You know, they got a huge warehouse for storing barrels. The only barrels we keep on here are the ones that are ready to bottle.
Gotcha.
So if they're 3 years or 3.5 years, they get brought over here and they get up on our rack.
Okay.
The rest of them all go over and they get palletized and stacked up and get forgotten about.
Now, do you guys go over there regularly to check temperatures and sample them, or you just kind of let them sit and do their own thing? You don't worry about it? Nah. So you guys aren't worried too much about like the microclimates that are in there and rotating them around or anything?
Same temperature here.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, yeah.
it's hot as fuck. Hot as fuck in the summer and cold as shit in the winter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So and once it's in the barrel, really temperature is the only thing that is going to make any difference.
Yeah.
And it's not going to make a difference in the flavor. It's going to make a difference in how far it goes into the barrel. But half a mile away is not going to change.
Well, no, I mean like inside the rick house, right? So like the ones that are on the top, I don't know how their rick house is set up in there. If they're just stacked straight up standing like these barrels, or if they're on their side, or
They're all stacked vertical on a pallet.
okay.
Yeah. And really, you know, it's not like the Jack Daniels warehouses or Jim Beam where they have freaking 8 floors.
Okay.
It's 1 floor and their ceiling's probably maybe 50 feet.
Okay.
Right? So there is a big difference between what's up top and what's down. But we kind of don't have that in here.
Yeah.
So we're going to see whatever we put in a barrel last week and brought over there. 4 years from now, when we pull those barrels that are ready, we'll decide what we want to do with it. Do we want to do a single barrel? Do we want to blend them all together and then start bottling? You know, we're going to do whatever it takes to keep it tasting like that.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whether it's blending a bunch of barrels together or doing single barrels or who knows? You know, it's going to be good either way. So
It's exciting.
Yeah.
A lot of things on the horizon for you, and it's exciting to watch, from our vantage point, being so close to see where you've come from, where it's gone, and where it's going. It's just it's super exciting.
yeah, it is. It's I never would have thought when I started this thing we'd be here at this point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just always thought it was got a bar. It's a hobby. I got make booze. It's a hobby. You know, now it's a legit business that
Yeah.
for needs tending to all the time.
You got anything else you want to share?
Yeah, just if you can, if you like what we're doing, come see us. Buy it online if you're not in the state. Leatherwooddistillery.com. Get on our socials. You know, watch the car. It's a good time, and help us spend some money on the nonprofits. That's the most important thing for us.
That is important.
100%.
For sure, check out those websites for Brother Keeper, the Green Beret Foundation, which we're going to this year at Kid Rocks. So hopefully we'll see you there too. I don't know if you'll be there or not. And that's November 10th for that event at Kid Rock's Big Ass Honky Tonk. You can go on Green Beret Foundation's website
Rock the Green Beret.
for the Rock the Green Beret event.
Yeah.
It's a good ass time. A lot of good people show up, good musicians, and you'll be able to drink Leatherwood because it'll be in that bar too. So looking forward to our next conversation in a year from now.
Yeah.
When we
Let's do it
see
again.
what you've done and another year. But until next time, drink your favorite drink. Hopefully it's bourbon, and get sauced. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.